Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Scene Snobs Podcast. It's been 4 long years. No, it's been 4 years of this show and what it kind of set off. I don't know. All day I've been racking my brain. What show do you do for your 4-year anniversary? Do I show clips? Do I talk about old times? How do you do it? You know, we've had anniversary shows before, but this is our 4th. We're going into year 5. It's a big deal. It hit. I got to tell you, it's probably been one of the hardest years. So when I got to this point, I asking myself, like, what do you talk about in your 4-year anniversary? I was unprepared. It was just one of those weeks where I felt burnt out. We had 2 shows this week of the Scene Snobs podcast, not even counting all the other stuff that we put out. So I sat down and I thought about it all day. Sitting here, I'm racking my brain over and over. What can I talk about? You know, I have some great guests here. They're friends, fellow podcasters, amazing people, and I can't wait to introduce them in just a few. But I thought I'd take a few minutes to talk to you guys. You know, about a week ago, I'm talking to my wife, and she was kind of going over the YouTube channel. She works for the scene. She runs this stuff, and she knows everything. So I give her all the credit. But she's looking over the YouTube channel, and she's looking at... And she's always known my reason for wanting to do this. So while she's looking at it, she's looking at our trailer on our YouTube channel. And she says, you need to change this. It's very nice. It's a cool edit. I like it. But why don't you do a video where you explain exactly why you're doing this? That's who you are. And at the moment, I was like, nobody wants to see anything sentimental like that. Nobody wants to talk about those things. Who cares? I mean, we're just here for entertainment. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I often think that about myself. Like, I don't know what it is that I have such amazing people who are willing to watch my shows or listen. I don't know what I bring to the table. I've never known. My whole life, I've always questioned, like, what do I bring to the table? What is it about me that is fortunate enough to have so many great people in my life? I know I piss a lot of people off. Oh man, no, I piss a lot of people off. And I think that's okay, because I think I've gotten to a point in my life where I wasn't always, working towards being a really great person. I'm not saying I'm a really great person. There is no saying that. I don't know if I'd ever achieve that, but I'm working towards being a really great person. Somebody maybe who can inspire, somebody who can just, I don't know, stand out and do good things, and not for any sort of notoriety, but because you made a difference. I always liked people like that. And that's kind of what inspired me when doing this, when getting into it, like figuring out my why. This year, I would say, was all about my value. What is my value? Questioning those things. Where am I coming from? Like, what am I offering to everyone? I have been racking my brain about it, and it came to a few points this year where and you can ask friends, and a couple of them might even tell you tonight, I legitimately was ready to quit. I said, what am I doing? I'm ready to give up, ready to get out. I don't think I'm making any difference. I don't think, I have no value that I'm giving anybody, and it hit me hard. And I had to really think about those things and really work on that part. But I've never been a guy who believed in himself. I've never been a guy who sees things about me that other people say they see. It just wasn't. That's never how I felt. There was insecurities there. Like, why would anybody want to watch a fat guy talk about movies? It's often a question I ask myself. So doing this thing, doing the Scene Snobs, building this brings me such joy. And I hope I'm putting out that much joy and, maybe filling you with joy or entertaining you or anything along those lines. Because honestly, that is why I did this. I talked about it. I was a filmmaker. I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I always wanted to create. I always wanted to entertain. I always want to make people smile. I love making people smile. It's always so enriching to me. Like, I love it. It's like a drug. Like, I love to make people smile. So I wanted to do this. I was podcasting for years, and I was always like the 3rd mic or the 4th mic or the 5th mic, whatever. The guy who would come in with some funny jabs maybe sometimes, but nothing of substance. I wasn't offering anything to anybody. It was just fun. I had a good time. So when I was starting this, I had to figure out, what am I trying to do? If I'm going to do my own thing. And it came to me. There was a YouTuber years ago. He kind of got exposed for some things. He terrorized his son on his YouTube page. That's what it was. I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to get into all that. And I watched this newsreel about this guy doing this and what he would do to his son, and watched some of the videos. And I'm like, that's what I got to do. I have to do everything different from this. If this is a successful piece of entertainment, and of course I'm using air quotes on that, people, but it's not entertaining. You should never terrorize anybody for entertainment. But if that's a viable, lucrative channel, then I have to believe that if I come out here and my main mission in doing this is entertain, make people happy. Maybe, I can educate in some way. I'm not saying I'm a foremost authority on anything, but maybe I can. Maybe I can help point people in the right direction, lend a helping hand at times, things like that. And I'm not saying I always succeed, but try at that. Something positive, something that I can put out there that it just feel good to be doing. And I feel like we've done that. I feel like we've put that journey forth. Casey was a big part of that. Casey really helped so much in all of this. And losing him this year was tough. And the one thing I will say about Casey, wonderful partner and a good friend, it didn't work. But man, does that guy have a shit ton of just pure potential. That guy, he'll always land on his feet and he'll always do great things because he's capable of it. And he's got the smarts, he's got the potential, he's got everything else. And that's why it's always fun to watch him. It's always fun to be around him. So when he left, it scared me. And I hadn't been that scared since when I started this. The Scene Snobs was birthed as just me writing reviews on Facebook. And then it just evolved. And then finally, when I was like, I'm going to start my own show and I want my own channel. And what is my channel going to be like? Well, I harkened back to my days as a kid and PBS. PBS always had a way, all the shows always had a way of making you laugh, making you feel all different types of emotions and be able to deal with them. From Sesame Street to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to Reading Rainbow to Bob Ross and so much more. I was like, I want to do that. Now, I don't want to do exactly that. I don't want to put out children's programming. I want to do that for maybe adults. I want to have something like what PBS does. And the thing that I'm talking about the most that they do is they create like this community feel. Like everybody can just watch these shows and feel like we're all together. I don't know what it is about that channel, especially those shows. They have that capacity to make you feel that. And I was like, if I'm going to create a channel, I want to have that capacity of making people feel that. I want everybody who comes in to feel like, hey, I belong here, whether I like the same things as everybody else or not. And I hope we achieve that. Starting this, I never thought, I have no delusions of being a celebrity. I have no delusions of any of that stuff. I have a ton of fun doing this stuff. I got to be in a movie this year, got to do other stuff. Like it was a ton of fun, but I have no delusions of like, I'm this guy. And, like I said, I struggle with that. I'm insecure. I'm a big guy. So it weighs on me. Fun. But I read something tonight that really put into perspective everything I was trying to encapsulate in what I'm doing here. And I want to read something to you. And I swear to God, this came into my life at the right moment because I needed it. But it was Malik Yoba who was in Cool Runnings. They were interviewing him. They asked him about John Candy, and what was he like? What was it at that point? And what hit me was when John Candy filmed that, he was 42 years old. He was a year older than I was. I'm actually not even a year. Like I'm almost 5 or 6 months away from being 42. And John Candy's always been a hero of mine because he is a big guy, but I always looked at him as like larger than life. He made everybody smile, everybody feel good. It felt like a guy that was just in your corner, but to put his arm around you and be like, you know what, buddy, we got this. Let's do this. Like he was a friend. So I always loved John Candy for that. And I was appreciative. I'm very lucky in doing this. I've got to interview his daughter, who was fantastic, and I've got to watch his son be interviewed. And that was amazing to hear those stories and stuff. But John Candy was always a hero of mine, especially being big. I was like, that guy could put out so much and do so many great things and be big and people accept him and love him. Maybe they can for me too, while doing all of this. So when he was asked about it and I read this, it really blew me away. And this is what he said, Malik Yoba. He was 42 at that point, and he had never taken a vacation in his professional career. He said it was because he was afraid he'd never work again. That's always stuck with me. At that time, he was probably the biggest he had ever been in his life. And I recall, and that means his star power. And I recall that he would bring a trainer on set to help him lose weight. He was struggling to lose weight. He was very insecure about his place in the Hollywood ecosystem. Most people would never imagine that would be the case for the great John Candy, but it was. And it got me thinking because that's how I feel. I'm never going to like this. Nobody's going to want to look at me. I feel that all the time. And I feel that insecurity. And I feel like I'm like, if I take a break, like I never take breaks, I get burned out. And then, I want to listen to a lot of people talk about that, but I'm afraid that like, if I take a break, I'm going to lose my community because of that insecurity, because I don't feel like I'm there. But listening to that and hearing a guy who at that time was probably the biggest star in the world, and everyone loved him, to feel that way, it put a lot of perspective. It gave me a lot of perspective, I should say. And it really hit me to the point where I now know, sitting here, that no matter what, my insecurities are going to probably be there, and I can always work on them. I always could try to do better and things like that. But I need to keep going because there are people in this community who have accepted me. and embrace me for who I am and like and appreciate what I'm putting out. And what that brings me around to before we get started with the rest of the show is this is the 4-year anniversary of the Scene Snobs podcast. I put a lot of work into it. I bust my ass day in and day out to make sure the channel is fun, to make sure there's lots of content coming out, to make sure there's lots of this, that, and the other thing. And none of it matters without you guys, every one of you, the whole Snobs Nation. It's 4 years because of you guys. I may have started out and there was nobody listening, but I'll tell you what, there are people listening now. And the only thing I can think of is just always be appreciative of that fact. So with this 4-year anniversary, going into year 5 and moving on to bigger and better things, we're going to get bigger. We're going to do bigger things. We have more people coming in. It's going to be huge. But I can't go forward without making sure all of you who watch, listen, support, like, share, everything, even just a kind word, like a comment that says, hey, I really like your content, everything, or good job, or whatever. I love you guys. It makes all of this worthwhile because you are a great community. You're great people. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you for making these 4 years truly amazing. I don't have the words for you guys, but I just want to make sure I say thank you. And I tell you, I appreciate you. And you guys are all amazing. And you'd better know that. All right. Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast. We're going into year 5. I have 2 great guests with me tonight. Chris and Sturdy are here from Worst Damn Gamer Ever and Harbor Sir Sturdy. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, yay.
Super happy for you, super proud of you. Like this is dope. And it's honoring. I'm honored to be on your anniversary episode because I know how important these episodes are and how meaningful they are, how fun they can be as well. But it's just like this is like every anniversary for this stuff is a milestone. Like every single year is a freaking milestone because you look back at that past year and you're just like, yo, there was times in the back of my mind I might not have said it out loud. You might not have known or seen it, but I almost thought about fucking hanging the microphone up.
Yeah.
But then you think about it for a little bit, you're like, I love this shit way too fucking much. I put way too much into it already, and I have way too much more to give it. And I could tell you have way too much more to give it than to stop now, to stop 10 years from now. Just like, you're going to keep killing it.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And I appreciate you guys so much for all your support, your care, everything you've done. It just means a lot.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, right.
Not you, Chris.
I mean,
I'm kidding. I love
Listen,
you, man.
I took out all the stops, okay? I got a tie on. I got some nylon gloves for you, okay? I brought out the Luigi, the tall one.
Are we Green
I know you're a
Brothers?
big fan of Prince.
Right now
Rain.
we are, bruh.
I love Purple Rain. I love that movie, dude. I want to purify myself in the lakes of Lake Minnetonka so bad, or the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
You should.
Oh, I will.
Never get out that way. That's the first thing you need to do. As soon as you go there.
I have been to Minnesota, but I went to Minnesota in October, so it was like 7 feet of snow. So
Yeah, it's perfect.
George, Red 5 standing by. I love it.
Saw there was a couple people waiting out there before it started. I like that.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
That's how
4
you show
years.
your support.
So, how does it feel?
Feels good, man. I mean, how did you feel in your 4 year?
It felt dope. And like for me, there's a lot of things I've tried in life and quit at. So it felt cool to be like, I'm still doing it. Like at the end of the day, I'm sure a lot kind of like he's just gonna do this for 100 episodes and he's done. It's like, no, I'm still fucking doing it. I'm on episode 434. I think I just did today. I'm gonna keep. It's something to where you get to whatever your podcast is about. You get to talk to other people about it.
Mm-hmm.
You get to talk to other people that have that same, maybe not the same exact fandom as yours, but they care about that same subject or whatever your show's about. So it's like it's cool to have not only that, but you can talk to other people from all around the world, just sitting right wherever your studio is, whether that be at a studio you're paying for, or a studio you're paying for at home because you're paying for the roof over your head anyway.
Sure.
So it's like you're paying your bills at home. Here we go.
Dude, we're pretty sure. Don't worry. Sturdy's not going to die yet. He's getting there, but he's not yet.
I'm good. But no, it's such an amazing feeling, man. It really is.
It is, man.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's only been 2 years, and this was my first actual venture into a sole project in any escape or scope like this. I'm used to marketing for businesses and stuff like that, and trying to draw people, for services to be rendered and stuff like that. So this was all completely different. So for me, it's like watching it very slowly mold and grow. And now for you at 4 years, I don't know, like to me, I kind of feel like in my head, you're watching it start to run. You know what I mean? It's got up, it's taking its steps, and it's getting ready to just jet across the floor. So congrats.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. And like a lot of this, like it's so weird because like the last show I was on did 6 years, right? And then the show before that did 2 years. Right? Well, 2 years I was on. And it never felt like this. I don't know, like we never really celebrated an anniversary. I don't even think we knew when we started. If I'm being honest, like in the last show. So it wasn't like we were running around being like, hey, let's celebrate the anniversary. And I don't know if that's good, that's bad. I try to because it means a lot to me. But it's so odd. Like it's like, wow, 4 years. I mean, like I thought I was going to quit after the second or third episode, and we're going on 300 in a couple of weeks. It's so crazy.
Clap it up for that. That's
absolutely
That's dope.
That's going to be a fun, crazy one.
The commitment to doing 50 episodes. There's a commitment to that. 100 episodes, and then when you hit that next milestone of 250, 300, all that stuff, it's a commitment because you're just like, holy shit, I did this. Like I actually sat down and did this and completed this task. That's amazing. That's amazing in itself because again, it's like shit. I do gotta say something to you too, Chris. You've improved so much as a podcaster from when you first started coming on with like Horror Research 30 and Popcorn and Pints to now, which was been like what 2 years ish.
2 years, yeah.
And just like you take it way more serious for one, but you're like really, 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 really into it and into the entertainment, into like the conversation, of course, but also into the entertainment aspect, which I can say is about you, Mick. And we do that part in our own ways as far as the entertainment part of it, as we're, doing what we're doing, talking about what we're talking about. But you've grown so fucking much, man. Like with the gaming and shit, I'm like, yo, this guy is really like, he's really doing his thing now. And I feel like you really opened up more as far as like just being you when you're gaming. Like not just being the persona of Worst Damn Gamer, but actually it's still being Worst Damn Gamer, but still showing little bits of Chris, like with the motivational Mondays you do now and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot, by the way.
No,
thank you.
Because we knew how he was behind the scenes. He's not just a crazy Puerto Rican. I mean, he is.
He's got brain of
I got
ideas.
my moments.
He's a crazy Puerto Rican, but he's got a great ideas too.
And it's just like it's cool to see that growth just from like I love watching content creators grow. If we're friends personally or just watch them, especially if we're personally friends, it's even doper because you're just like, holy shit, like you went from there to there to there to there to there. And you may have taken a little break, but now you're from there to there to there to there to there. And just all from just literally just from trying shit. Like, how do you do this? You look it up on YouTube and it's like, all right, let me try this. Let me hit record. Let me do this. Let me do that. First, like for me, it was just audio, then visuals, and then green screen. I used something, what's the XCam? And then green screen and XSplit, yeah. And Chris and our friend Dreams actually helped me with the through something like this. Great technology. Helped me set up my green screen and stuff. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like through this, not being over here, like, yo, put this here. I'm like, no. And I love that we all have that. Like even now, how we talk behind the scenes and just we'll literally kick it for the day, doing whatever we're doing throughout the day, working from home, doing whatever we're doing. But we're in here just talking and giving each other tips and giving each other pointers. And I think that's a dope thing. And I think it's a really super important thing for not just content creators, just anybody in life. But I mean, on the content aspect, other content creators, hey, what can I do? Oh shit, here's an idea that I know won't work for my show, but it's gonna work perfect for yours. Mick gave me at least 75,000 ideas. I'm getting to some of them. It's
man, you got some. I love your ideas, dude.
It's so cool how that works though, and you don't get mad about it because you want that idea to be out there, but it's not. It may just not work for your show. It may not work for your energy or however you do it. Like, and it's just, oh man, it's so fun at the end of the day. Like the day I stop having fun doing this is the day I stop doing it, which I don't see that happening because there's so many ways to have fun and you learn so much with just doing this shit.
I've learned in my 20 years of comic art is to escalate yourself, always challenge yourself. And even if it's something that has you in over your head, I love that a lot, George. That's a really good advice. And comic art, you say, message me, man, because I would love to talk to you about it. For sure. I didn't know that you were doing that. That's awesome. I would love to talk to you about it. Dude, it's a trip, honestly, this whole thing. And like, I think I'm a little lost for words because I usually prep a script. And then we had the F-off episode the other day and I was like, I don't prep scripts for that, but I didn't go all out. I could have. I was like, I didn't go all out. So I just let it alone. Like ranting. I didn't want to just get into a complaining mode. You know what I mean? And I was like, but that was always the fun part when Casey and I would do the F-off episode. Cause like, we were just like, let's just wail or whatever. But
that's fun. I want to do that. want to do that with you.
All right, you're gonna come on the F off episode next year.
Cool.
We'll have more. We'll have more. Our halfway anniversary.
There you go.
There you go.
Just so we could do an F off episode. But this episode, I was like, I don't know what to talk about. It's been a hell of a year.
And that's what you talk about right there. Like, just from experience, I don't come up with anything. I'm like when mine comes up, yo, who wants to come on, talk some random horror and just have a good, fun conversation? Come on, when you stay on as long as you want, whatever. And that's basically it, because it's like, you don't want to go on there and do what you normally do, because then you have to prepare for it. And it's like, I don't really want to prepare. I just want to be relaxed. Like, this is my anniversary. I just want to chill. I want to relax, have fun with whoever comes on, and just kind of reminisce about getting here and hearing everybody's stories about how they got where they got and shit, where you see yourself going in the next year. Let's just say the next year. What's your goals for the next year? And how can everybody help get you? How can we help get you there and so on? Because shit, this stuff does take a team, guys. Like, yes, we all have our separate channels, but again, ideas, sharing each other's stuff, going on each other's shows, all that stuff really matters and really counts.
Yeah, and see, that's a funny thing. And I feel bad because we're not letting Chris talk. We're just making him sit there.
You're good.
No, but I want to hear your voice. I like your voice. Although I'm going to hear it for like the next 3 hours, so that's pretty cool. Not this show, but the next one.
Yep.
No, and that one's gonna get wild. But so we get to I'm year 4. Started your year 7.
This January 1st will be year 6.
Six. You're year 2. What is starting for you? Let's start off. Like, what's some advice you would give from year 5 to going into year 5 to get to year 6? And then let's see what Chris, at 2 years looking at us, what are some things you think we should maybe make changes to, or what we should focus on going forward? I'd love to hear your advice.
Interesting.
I like that. So what was yours like for me again, real quick?
What's your advice looking back at us?
Okay,
at him at 2 years, being at 4 years, and then he's going in his 3rd. I'm going into my 5th. So like for you, like what's some advice for us at our points?
Honestly, the most important thing, obviously, keep having fun with it. But like, that feeling you get when you have something fun or something super dope, this super dope idea, and it's gonna work, and you get that feeling in your stomach and that feeling in your gut. That reason alone is why you should keep doing it. Because I know you guys have that feeling. Because I know you guys have some dope ideas, and these just because we bounce off each other all the freaking time. And I know that feeling. I know that look. I know that smirk. Like, Chris has this crazy smirk when he has this idea. That right there. A little bit. It looks a little creepier sometimes, but when he has that look, or he'll have some excited ass face when he has that look, and you're just like, this fool's about to do something crazy. He has some fucking idea brewing. He's gonna write it down. He's gonna be mad excited about it. Do some Puerto Rican stuff and dance, and then he's gonna get to it. And it's just dope seeing your friends do that, because you could just gear up, and Mick's a little bit more sneaky. Mick will be like, yeah, guys, I have this idea. And then fucking the next day it's done. Like, he already had it finished, but he's just not showing us until tomorrow.
I legit know. If I tell you I have an idea, not a thing is done with it. Not a thing is done. I just stay up all night and work on it. I'm like,
so shit like that, man.
I don't know if how you guys handle it, but like for me, it's like I have an idea and I'm like, not that, my filmmaking days have shown me get your idea down at least on paper real fast, because I don't know what it is about the whimsical, mystical life of the brain, but like I feel like the signals are floating out there and it gets out. So get it done if you can. And it is. I know I said right in my speech, I know I piss people off. Oh, I'm good at it, but at least I try to be stand up. It's not like a shitty guy who's pissing people off. It's like, all right, this guy's trying to be a good person and he just pisses people off.
Hey, sometimes you're just good at shit. Sometimes you're just good at stuff, and sometimes it's just, hey, I piss people off. I'm good at it.
Listen, my skills drive everybody crazy. That's what it's like. And that is like, that's the skill, not my actual, my skill of driving people crazy.
Hey, again, gotta be good at something.
Ask every woman I've dated.
Oh my god,
touche. And there's every woman who's rejected me. I don't blame them either. For new ideas, I need to write it down, a little bit of scrap for future usage.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually use Google Docs, not just because I always have it either on my phone, my computer, whatever. And again, when I have these ideas or I get ideas from these guys, like, let me go save that shit right now because I know my ass is gonna forget, even if I wait like 2 minutes sometimes. Because we'll keep talking. That's the thing too. We'll keep talking, and here's another 16 ideas. Yo, what the fuck was the first one? I forgot. We all forgot.
All the ideas we probably lost.
Yeah,
seriously.
Right. Oh my
so
God.
when you guys do these meetings too, here's some more information for other content creators out there. When you guys are doing these type of meetings, like say you're doing it behind the scenes, hit record. Even if you guys think you're just gonna be going in there joking around, hit record. And I say that because I don't know how many times over this past month and a half we had some ideas, forgot them, didn't hit record because we think we're just gonna go in there and bullshit or just make something. It's like, no, hit record. Trust me.
And you know what? That's the funny thing too. Like, you know, in these years we've talked about like people we've had issues with, like, and I'm going back years, especially early on, because like there's always people like taking ideas, stuff like that. And the funny thing for me, and I promise you, AJ, I see your thing. This isn't about you. I'm talking, I don't want to name the name. I actually don't want to. That's why I said his name. I don't want to name the name of the person because I'm probably going to get killed. So
R. Kelly.
Nah, he's crazier. We'll call him Champ. Anybody who's been listening to the show long enough knows who Champ is. So I dated myself with that one. But my point in bringing this up is I'm a guy who, and I think you guys know this, like I'm like, I had an idea for your show. And it's like, take it, and it's like, I don't give a shit. I don't want it. I don't want anything for it. Just take it if you want it. Or I don't give a shit if you don't want it. I'm always been a guy like, if you go out and you do something similar to me, fine, but at least like say something. Just be like, hey, I like, and that's why after 4 years and getting that far, that's advice I want to give to people. If you are like, you go and you see, oh, they're doing a top 5 podcast or content or whatever. Everybody does fucking top 5. Go do it. Go ahead. Just call it something different. Make it a little bit different. Make it yours or, stuff like that. So make it. That's the only thing I can say is put your personality into it. And you talked about this sturdy in the beginning, and that's why I kind of want to touch down on this point again. We're all different, personality wise. We're all different. We're not doing very much different, in terms of content. But that's the thing. Like, how many times have you guys come up and be like, "Hey, you mind if I try that?" Yeah, go ahead. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you can have shows similar to mine, because it's going to be different either way. Like, I'm going to be different than you, and I do really truly believe that people find you and they latch on to you.
Mm-hmm.
Bad people find bad people, good people find good people, and sometimes in between, you never know.
Yeah.
So I've literally just covered all gamuts with that one sentence. So I'm done. Have a good night, everybody. It's been fun 4 years.
I'll say this too, like, just have the passion. Like, if you really want to do it, just have the passion and just do it. Don't have an excuse. Don't worry about anything. Just do it. If you got one of these, pick it up, hit record, and just do it. Create that content, and you'll eventually get to that spot you're thinking of in your mind, in your head. You'll be further than you think, actually, if you just get up and just do it. Trust me.
100%. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, AJ, and also George. I just want to say this because I want to hear what you have to say, Chris, and I'll let you go.
You're good.
Nolan Bushnell did something similar for random ideas that would germinate. What did Germans have? You put it in a pile called compost, and you add it to until a combination of ideas gives you what you look for. That's great advice.
That's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off, dude.
No, you're good. To piggyback off of what you guys were saying, one of the things that I learned over the years, because I've done so many different types of things in small creative spaces. I've been a hobbyist in the music world. I've worked with other musicians. I've done videography and photography with different people. The biggest thing is just find what works for you. If you're old school and you rather have paper, a notebook, or something around, or a little flip out thing, have that with you so you can write that down. Modern technology allows us, Justin Bieber, Charlie Puth, John Bellion, myself included. When you have an idea, literally there was an album called, I forgot who it was, if it was Justin Bieber or Charlie Puth, but it's called Voice Notes. You know why it's called Voice Notes? Because every time he had an idea and he heard a melody or would hum something, he'd pull out his phone, hit the voice recorder, and make a voice note of the beat, the melody, whatever the drums he heard in his head. And then he would go back to the studio and recreate it using the software and his tools for his craft. So just use that, implement that. And then to the other thing that you guys were saying is one of the biggest things that anybody, it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning stages of your game or you're a veteran in the game, execution. Pile of ideas means fucking dick unless you actually start to move and make shit happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100% agree. And yeah, it's funny because Even just talking about like this and like the whole idea of it, execution. And I think that's kind of like where I come from when I say like I just stay up when I do the idea, because it is the execution. It's like I don't want to put it on the back burner because I don't want it to lose out, and right now I'm excited about it.
Yep. When you write it down, you do several things. You put it down so that it is reiterated to yourself as you're reading and writing what you're writing. It gives you time to go back and reflect on it. It gives you time to let it sit in your head for a little bit. And then when you do go to execute, now you have a kind of a basis of an overview or an overlay of what you exactly want. But the key to that is that now that you've allowed yourself that time and all that, the fact that you wrote it down and you look at it again, now you really want to make yourself accountable. Now you are like, I got to do this because I've done it. I've thought about it so much. And that's the huge part to being able to execute, is when you start to tell yourself, I have no excuses, I have to do this. And you leave yourself and not only looking to other people to be like, yo, give me a push yourself, hold yourself accountable. Go ahead, try it. Because guess what? Every idea is going to work. And if it doesn't work, you find out what worked about that situation, and then you change it to make it work even more. You evolve it. But there is no wrong answer when it comes to trying things. You have to try. You have to fail. Scientists will do an experiment over and over and over again and change the smallest little detail of that experiment to fine tune it to get that final outcome, that cure, that whatever they're looking for. And it's the same in every facet of creation, period.
Yeah. Great advice. Couldn't have said it better myself, so I'm gonna move on. No, it is great advice though. And for me, coming in, and I do believe the execution is right. I also believe, again, like I said, starting this all off, like watching that other YouTuber who literally is just terrorizing his kid and putting out crappy content where it's like being mean, and then like seeing this kid cry in every video. It's like, how does this guy making so much money off this? How does this guy have so many followers? And I was like, and honestly, I felt like it was a balance. I was like, when I'm starting this, I was like, I know I want to be creative, but I was like, if I'm going to do this and create podcasts, I also want to create a channel that's the antithesis of that. Something that's gonna inspire or and I'm not even saying it's me doing the inspiring, but like people will be a part of it, and it'll be a community, and like somebody's gonna get inspired, like Chris just giving great advice like that, you know what I mean? And you too, Sturdy, the same. It's just Chris's was a little bit I got a bust ball, come on. So doing this and
still fat.
It's true, fat is still fat.
Wow.
I don't know why you had to call me that in the middle of my 4th anniversary show, but I mean, I just did this whole speech about my weight and John Candy. Oh, facts.
Facts. F-A-C-T-S. Facts.
It still sounds like fats. I'm not gonna.
I also say axe for ask.
Let me get some of that axe. What?
let me ask you a question.
Ask you a question. I don't know what it is. Like doing this show though, man, I just brings me so much happiness, so much fun, and there's such a great community, and like being able to meet you guys, hang out with you guys, and so many other great people too. Like even Mick and Night after this, like there's all more great people. It's just been wild, and every day like watching it and like growing little by little and stuff like that. It's just been a wild ride for sure. But in year 5, I think we're gonna have to go full the other way and become the evil empire and just take it that way for the next 4 years. And I'm gonna have you guys like have an epic adventure to try and save me from the dark side. Okay,
we could try that.
Dressed as Mario and Luigi. It's just me slowly turning into Bowser.
Oh man!
Oh my God, that could work. That could totally work. All I'm saying, his eyebrows get really long on one episode. His teeth get longer on another episode. All I'm saying, skin starts to look a little pale and scaly.
Sturdy's dressed as Mario, but he's like Luke in Empire. He's holding his like no hand, and he's like, "You told me you killed him," or whoever Mario's guy would be. Sonic told me you killed him, and it's like, no, I am your father.
That'd be a wild, weird movie, but it would work.
But it would be amazing. It'd be the best live action version of Mario and Luigi ever.
Yes,
ever.
I don't know.
Ever.
Well, maybe.
Not hard
maybe.
to beat.
Listen, I love John Leguizamo and Brian Hoskins too, but come on.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. If they would have elaborated on the SNL skit that had Pedro Pascal from Last of Us, and they turned it all into the dystopia, and oh my God, I want to see that as an actual Mario.
talk about a movie that was just a straight up joke that you're like, yeah, I think we need this. This is like, I don't even want the cartoon anymore. Like, I want this. I was like, yeah, it's true. They did make the best live action version of Mario and Luigi. God, man, I think my favorite is when John Leguizamo was bitching about the cartoon movie that just came out about the voices, because he was like, you're not gonna have any Latino actors in there, and it made me laugh only because I'm like, but they're Italian. Right. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, like, fine, you have Chris Pratt, you have Charlie Day, like, I mean, it didn't bother me, but I don't care. But if it does bother other people, but at the same time, like, he's pissed. He's like, you should have hired somebody in there. And it's like, but they're Italian. You're not Italian. Like, by your logic, shouldn't we have Italian actors in there? Shouldn't we get?
So is he Italian and Puerto Rican mix or no? Because Leguizamo is not a full Hispanic name. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I feel like he's got to be some type of a mix. But fun fact about that: Mario was assumed to be an Italian man who was a plumber from Brooklyn. So Nintendo ran with that and said, fuck it, that's how we're gonna go. So they made it that and put it on the back of the games when they came out. From Brooklyn, Italian plumber tries to save Princess. Like, they were just like, well, everybody assumes he's Italian. And 20 years later, we didn't even get a voice until Mario 64. And then they gave him a somewhat Italian sounding voice actor to play Mario as an Italian plumber.
All right. That's blowing my mind. And at the same time, like, knowing the fact that, like, with Mario, when everybody's like, it's a me, and they're like, that's racist. It's like, he's not saying it's a me, right?
He's saying
yes. Oh, right. Well, I don't know why. You're the worst damn gamer ever. Like, that's still way better gamer than me will ever be. I just won't call myself a gamer so you can hold the moniker.
I'll let you get what it means.
Listen, George, it's hard to argue with that, and I loved that show. Did rewatch it with my kids recently, and they loved it too.
Yep.
It's not great. It's fun. It's nostalgic. It's not great. Like, it's better. It's definitely better. But if we're gonna take the SNL skit, it's better than all of them, for sure. So yeah, movies not even better.
What, as far as content creation, what keeps you going?
The idea that one day I will be able to be AI and have sex with myself.
You could already have sex with yourself.
It's not an answer that you were probably expecting. No, Chris, why don't you take this one, because you got good answers. I'm not. I have to think about it.
All right. For me, there's a couple different things. I've done so many different things that, like, this is my 0 F's given mode. This is my newest journey of, hey, I'm just doing something, and I'm like, I feel like I can make this happen. I feel like I'm one of those people who have a personality, bring it across, but then also who have an idea behind it of making sure that I'm not just like a toxic gamer, but I also motivate and I bring out that energy that I have to make people smile and have a good time. I've always loved being in the middle of the crowd. So, I mean, this gives me a platform where I've already met people from Wales. I've met people from Australia, Russia, the Middle East. It's insane to me. So this is the quickest way for me to give a big old hug to the world and have them kind of reciprocate it back. So that's kind of what keeps me going. Seeing a comment makes me go, okay, tomorrow I'm doing it again. If somebody donates or something, fuck, I'm this whole week, next week I'm in, I got these ideas, I'm doing them. And then on top of it, like we said earlier, when you're doing things, it's really important to understand, like Sturdy said, you need a team, whether that's in a team that's involved in the whole process of it, or at least having people there who are in the same space that also help motivate you and push you to better yourself as well as each other. So that's one of the greatest things about doing calls with you guys and doing stuff like that, is because every single day that I get on my phone, not only am I a consumer, but now I'm switching from a consumer to the creator and understanding the process. So now I get to see greatness. I get to see some bad content. I get to make some bad content. I get to learn from it. And then I get to also provide that lesson and example, hopefully, to some ears that'll listen to me. And then at the end of the day, hopefully that means that all of us are leveling up. And I don't give a fuck if one of us is already max level by the time I get to level 50. I don't care. Just the fact that you climbed that ladder, I was along watching and I was learning and I was there. And it's not that I'm just trying to be a symbiote or a succubus of it. No, it's literally for the fact that, hey, I get to not only grow myself, but then help you grow. And it's, to me, it's one of those things that there's no downs to it. There's only positives to it. Whether you want to use the word of failure, no, I change certain terminologies to things at times. Like a failure isn't the normal word definition of failure. To me, it's an opportunity because you can grow from it. You can learn, you can see. And then now on top of it, you get to provide that insight and that perspective of what you learn from it to somebody else, which might save them some time. So I love efficiency. I don't mind helping people go along.
Yeah,
that's really nice, man. I really like that. And what you're saying about like changing the words, like to kind of change the mindset.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I can see that. Like, I don't do it, but it's cool to hear somebody kind of put that in perspective. Like, I didn't hit that guy with my car.
Yeah.
I nudged him awake with my car and then fled the scene. I didn't flee this. No, I'm sorry. I didn't flee the scene.
You drove away.
I rushed home.
There you go.
I nudged him awake with my car. And
I remembered I had left something on the stove, so I went home to shut it off. And then by the time I got back, he was gone. So he was okay.
Police are like, he wasn't gone. He died. We had to take him off the street.
Oh, well, that explains that now, doesn't it?
Now, why were you driving a city bus? Listen, like I said, I needed a ride.
Exactly. Like, I saw an opportunity.
There you go.
Opportunity. Actually, to answer the question for you, it really is like to like kind of what Chris was saying, seeing the comments, hanging out with people. Like I love doing this, like and meeting people, and when I go to conventions like Carolina Fear Fest, stuff like that, it's like, oh man, that's awesome. That's amazing. So glad to get to meet people and get to know them. I will say there was a very good question posed to us in the comments.
Which was?
Well, first of all, Maria's age is 29. Well, Bart Simpson can be 10. I'm sure he can be 29 forever. Let's do it. Would they consider that incest or masturbation if I slept with myself? Masturbation. Will Ferrell already proved that point in SNL. He's like, you masturbate with your own hand? Okay. No, it's masturbation. And even if it was, I don't care. It's for me. And then George says, so here's the question. You meet the alternate universe alternate universe version of yourself as the opposite gender. Would you still have sex with them? I'm a yes.
Oh, I'm absolutely like Loki. Oh, 100%. Fuck yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm married, so like, is that cheating?
Nope.
I'm gonna sit this. I'm not fucking myself.
It's like mutual self masturbation at that point.
I dig it. I think that's what it is. I think you're right, and I'm gonna adopt that and just be like, yes.
Yeah, but hold on. No, here's the thing, though.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do it.
No. I'm not. I'm staying out of that. I'm not doing that. But here's the thing: is there's gonna be some dumbass dude listening to this, get caught cheating on his girl, to try to use that. Oh no, it was just co-masturbation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Somebody's gonna create a robot that looks like themselves so that their wife doesn't get upset.
All because of the seed stuff.
Listen, all I'm saying is, I feel like it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Really figure out what's gonna happen. Listen, we watched Loki season 1.
Right,
he fell in love with the female version of himself.
How do you explain that? What if you get yourself
pregnant? Get what?
Yourself pregnant.
Then in your alternate universe, there's going to be a really awesome kid somewhere.
Yeah, she's got to go back to her time. I'm good.
That time's over.
Try to get me for child support through fucking multiple universes. Good luck with that one.
That would be the weirdest family ever.
Could you imagine a Jerry Springer multiverse edition?
Oh man!
If I write the screenplay, can we do another reading?
Yes,
I'm with it.
And Mick, Mick had sex with himself. 47
as
pages.
Nicolina began to tenderly touch his face.
47 pages of good sounds of Mick like moaning, and then Rosie Perez also moaning. We don't know why. Blast Furnace Media. Like
I will totally do a voiceover for it.
Oh my god,
that's
Media.
Awesome. That's great.
Wow,
perfect for the time of year.
You should have known it was gonna go like this, people. You should have known like this.
I love that comment. And you know what? I'm gonna leave it up for a little bit. That's a good one. And I'm gonna bring it back to George's because this question is fun. Sturdy, how do you not f yourself?
I don't want to.
How do you not?
I can't stand myself. half the time. So
I
it's like
think I'd
another
hang
me.
out with myself.
Another me. I don't need to deal with that. I'm good.
I'm not
I
gonna lie.
honestly think if I had another version of me, I'd try to take over the world.
Or you
Oh.
or you'd be fighting yourself all the time.
No,
Well, is it a female?
we'd already
version
know
or
what we're
male
thinking
version?
every time. Think about it. Every time you thought somebody was less than intelligent, you both would look at each other and be like, "You see what I mean?" type deal, and be like, "Yep."
We'd look at each other and be like, "We're less than intelligent too."
Holy shit.
But if it's the female version, I don't think you're taking over the world. The reason being is women are smarter than us and they don't want to do that. It seems they just want to live in it and not be fucked around with.
Yep.
But I'll say this: if it's a male version of myself, we're probably just going to be podcasting partners.
There you go.
I'm not going to lie. That'd be
Now that would be dope.
the Alternates podcast.
There you go.
Yep. You guys twins?
Ooh.
Nah, from different dimensions, different
next
universes.
Next on the Mick Manhattan scene. Well, I don't know why I said that. The Scene Snobs channel. I'm just going to start bringing in guests to be me from alternate universes and interviewing them.
I
think I got a blonde wig somewhere.
I'm just coming as me. I'll wear.
You could just look like you and say you're the Puerto Rican version of me in another world.
You know me. I like going all the way.
He's gonna.
You have long, luscious hair. That is the only way I'll describe it.
Hopefully not for long.
True. Actually, let's get into it because we're coming to
Yes.
the end of this episode and we're going to be jumping on Mick at Night. So anybody who's watching, we are going to be live. It's a different show because it's the podcast that's not, but Mick at Night, we're going to have other guests joining us. We're going to be hanging out. Sturdy, I don't know if he's going to be there, but if he does, we're going to try and get him to fuck himself as a female. It's going to be amazing.
Oh,
Sturdy's stuck in the void. Sturdy's stuck in the void right now. When he was saying that earlier, and he's like, "You showed me how to use the green screen. I appreciate that." And I'm like, "You look like you're in a void."
I love it.
This guy, that's just fucking hilarious.
They put Sturdy in the box. So as we're winding down and as we're getting out of here, I want to say thank you for all you guys watching and hanging out with us. Before we're gonna say one of our last goodbyes, but you guys are all amazing. We appreciate you commenting along. Blast Furnace Media. The first time I heard you comment, but thank you so much, man. Please join in more often. Love it. Shout out to Sir Sturdy. Was just on the show. Oh, all right. So this is
Appreciate it.
Very cool. Thanks for joining in, man. Team Sturdy for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. He's awesome. So before we do that, you want to talk about the charity a little bit?
Yes.
do it.
And I feel like this would be one of them commercials, Chris, when you come back on, pull your hat off, do that hair thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Got you.
Well, we'll talk about it on the other one too. So if he doesn't want to pull off the hair, I get it. Is there significance to Luigi right now? Is that like a 4? Is there a 4 significance or an anniversary significance that you went with it?
No. I was Mario yesterday on my stream. So I was like, for Mick, I got a nice green Halloween colored tie. I got my green shirt, my green hat, and my gloves to be fancy for your anniversary. That's all. I'm the tall one. I've always been the tall one. I can't be Mario. I'm not fucking 3 foot.
See?
I love it. I love Luigi, so it's cool with me.
I always feel like Luigi needed more shine, but anyway.
Yeah, in like a haunted mansion is the best part. Guys, so Sturdy and I are producing producing whatever. Casters for a Cause. If you don't know what that is, that's our charity events that we have here on the Scene Snobs channel, and where a bunch of podcasters get together. Usually we do a marathon. We're going to start doing script reads now. Mm-hmm. So maybe every few months or so, we're going to pick a new movie out. Not always horror, but sometimes because we do love it. We're going to be reading the scripts, playing games during the scripts. We're going to have lots of fun stuff coming up. But on October 13th, we're reading Friday the 13th. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have some great people be a part of it. 3 of us here are going to be a part of it. Probably not having sex with anybody. That is us from an alternate universe. I probably should have said in the middle of that. But we get to do this all for lunch. It is an organization that is trying to eliminate school lunch debt all over the country, which is truly beautiful and wonderful thing because no kid should have to pay to eat. That's just asinine. And thank you to Sir Sturdy for turning me on to this endeavor. And we are so excited to be collecting for them. The GoFundMe is live. I'm going to put it up right now in the comments. Please, if you find it in your heart, donate. But we are trying to reach a goal of $500 on the night. And let me pull down the reason why. And that is because this man right here has promised to shave his hair off and donate it if possible. And look at that hair. Palomalu is jealous of this man right now. And he's going to shave it all off if we can reach our goal.
For a great cause. For an amazing cause. And on top of that,
5 years, folks.
That's this money. Cinco. On top of that, he mentioned last night on my show, he would cut. If you guys have this goal set on Friday the 13th, that hair's coming off on Friday the 13th live. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Every dollar counts, and hit that share. If you can afford to donate or not, at least share. Let people know. Kids need to eat. Kids shouldn't have to pay to eat. It's not their fault. Kids should never have to pay to eat ever. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any freaking sense to me.
Thank you. Yeah, we have reached. Thank you so much, Lady Manhattan. Appreciate you. We're $70 so far. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's a big way towards the goal, and we're
yeah.
going to get more. And it's running all month long, so it doesn't have to stop at the 500. That's just the goal for the charity read.
Yep.
If you guys want to keep going, let's help these kids. Let's help them eliminate school lunch debt. It's important. As adults, we should be taking care of kids, and we are not.
Yes.
So we need to step up for sure. But before we go, and we are running late because we have to jump over because I realized how much time we took. If you don't mind, I'm going to take this one and just tell them where you guys are from.
Yes, sir.
This man right next to me is horror from Sir Sturdy. Sir Sturdy himself, he is the man. He knows horror. He also runs a show called Popcorn and Pints with some other really great movies and double features that they talk about on there. If you are not following him, I feel so bad for you. I don't know what's going on because he's amazing. And then down below right here, the man, Chris, is the worst damn gamer ever. Go follow him. He has some great fun live streams. He has some other great content as well. Their channels are both up there. They're both listed below, but you have to follow him to know all the fun stuff. But we're going to get off here. I'm going to say goodnight to you on this episode. If you're listening to it, go check out Sturdy's 5 questions. It's going to be on the end of this in the podcast, and then the video is going to be up on YouTube as of tomorrow. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs, and as you know, be kind, stay spooky for the season, and take care of each other. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 5 Questions, and I am joined, of course, by my guest co-host from the episode. This is Sturd Oween. It is Sir Sturdy himself from the Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast. Welcome, Sturdy. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, man. Of course. I love being on this show.
Dude, I love being on yours. You have a great horror podcast, and we talked about it a lot on the show. Guys, go check out that episode so you can learn more about Sturdy and his show and what he's got going on. But I got 5 questions for you. You ready for them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm ready.
Let's do number 1. Do you remember your first movie theater experience? What was the movie and what was it like?
Honestly, one that comes to mind, The Lion King. That's my favorite Disney movie. That's my favorite Disney movie, or my favorite animated Disney movie. Let me be correct. My favorite live action, White Fang. Love that movie.
You're into the animals. You like the animal movies, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm just wolves. That movie made me like growing up wanting a wolf, but I know then it was like, okay, a husky, but then I see how crazy those dogs are, so I had to settle for a mixed breed. But no, The Lion King, it went there for, I forgot what we went. My mother took a bunch of us to. I don't know if it was a birthday party or what. And funny thing about The Lion King, right? My brother didn't tell me this. Shout out to you, Henry, out in Colorado. Until about maybe we were in our 20s. He was like, remember when we were watching The Lion King in the theaters? I was like, yeah. Because remember when I moved away from you? Like away from everybody? He's like, yeah. So when Mufasa died, he started crying and moved down.
Oh my God.
I mean, of course you're going to laugh at that because it's your guy friends, but it is a sad, powerful freaking part in the movie.
Oh, yeah. And it adds gravitas that it's James Earl Jones doing it. Such a powerful voice.
Yes.
Oh.
It actually hits, like I'll get a little, not like crying, but you get that like that feeling in your throat, that little tickle. Like it hits me now as an adult, but as a kid, I mean, it was sad. I didn't laugh at it. It wasn't, but I just didn't.
I think we respond to it in different ways as we get older too. Because I remember as a kid thinking about it from the perspective, his father just died in front of him, and he thinks he did it. Oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah,
and like it's emotional and hurts. To as an adult and having kids, I'm like, oh my God, like. What would my kid go through if that happened to him? Like, and it's me. Like, yeah. I mean, it's just a weird, like, visceral response you're immediately going to get, like, where you're just like, it hurts you right off the bat.
Yeah, I think it's that, and then it's like for me, yes, thank God, knock on wood, my dad's still alive. He's gonna be 80 this year, so it's like losing that. What Mufasa was to Simba, not just a father, but a protector, a lead, like all those things that you are for your child. You know what I mean? And it's like losing all that is scary as shit.
Yeah, that's legit, man. And actually brings us into our next question. What is a movie that reminds you of your childhood?
You know what? I'm not even gonna stick with Lion King on that one because that's too easy. But Friday the 13th, and it's just a movie that growing up I've watched it. I can't tell you how many freaking times, man. The whole franchise for the most. I mean, I'll say 1 through 8 for the most part, as far as are the ones I've seen the most. And it's just like it's comforting for me when I watch those movies. It's so comforting. It's so relaxing. As crazy as that may sound for people that may not be horror fans. But I mean, if you've been watching something into something since you were 5 years old, and you're watching it with your older brother, your older cousin, so you know your little kid you look up to, you get to hang out with the cool crowd, the older crowd, and from that it passed on from me as far as like watching those same movies with my younger brother, watching those same movies with my younger cousins, and you know other friends, of course. But it's like it's just one of those movies I can pop that movie in and never be bored of it, never freaking be bored of it. And it again, I just think back to. Boom, pop that movie in. I remember watching this as a kid. And then it's like, I remember watching this as a teenager. I remember watching this in my adulthood with this person. I remember watching this movie with my wife. And like I've told you before how we went to the Blairstown in Jersey, and got to actually go to the actual site. So it's just like, I can only imagine how excited I would have been going there as a kid. I would have went crazy, just cheese and all this. Oh my gosh.
I love that.
So yeah, it's Friday the 13th is that.
I love that it's a horror movie. It fits within your realm of what you love doing. So that's very cool. Who is a character in a movie that you really looked up to at some point in your life?
Ooh, I might have to go back to Lion King for this one. Maybe Mufasa. It's Mufasa. It's Mufasa. And again, it's just so many, like watching it as a grown man, you're seeing so many gems that he's giving to his child and important gems. Like the elephant graveyard thing, in real life, it can be anything that's just like, don't hang out with this kind of person. Don't hang out with these crowd of people. Don't be doing this. Don't be doing that, because you can get yourself hurt, whatever the case may be. So it's kind of, the elephant graveyard is just the elephant graveyard. I look at it as it's temptation. It's temptation. It's like, for that, go hang out in the elephant graveyard for lions, for this movie portray. It's cool. It's dangerous. It's cool. It's fun, whatever. And for us, it could be anything. It could be anything. So I'm like, yeah, this just ties into it. And watching it as an adult, you pull from it and you understand it so much more. You're like, oh my goodness. You're like, wow, this is what my parents are telling me all these years. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
From a cartoon movie, now as an adult, this is what they meant by this, and that makes sense. It makes sense. But it's just one of those things to where like you see this, and then where when Mufasa comes out at night, you see his face in the sky. I feel like with that moment, it could be one of those things where you lose, even if a loved one's still alive. Actually, I'll give you a great example. I was driving to work one day in my wife's old Chevy Blazer, and the gas pedal got stuck, and I could not stop the truck. Thank God. Listen to this, right? So driving to work, gas pedal gets stuck. And I end up at a point to where I either there's a stop sign. Of course, I couldn't stop. I had to go either left or right, which my job was on the left, going towards the left. No cars were coming from either direction. No cops. So I make that turn. And just like I didn't see his face per se, but I just kind of felt like I heard my father's voice, just like, take a deep breath. You can handle this. And I swear to you, man, not even 2 seconds after that, feathered the gas some more. Then it finally popped back up, drove to work, parked it. Right after work, I think I might even called him before I got in there, but right after work, went to his house. We went through the whole truck and never did it again. Glad it happened to me instead of the wife. But again, just like that moment of where you really need that one person one way or another, and somehow they're just there. So
yeah, and I think it just sticks with you a lot of times. And I like that you correlated that with the Lion King, because that is such a big theme of it, for even him to come back later. And it, I mean, he's not talking to his father. In reality, he's not talking to his father. He's talking to himself, but he hears his father's voice because that's what he learned, and that's what he needs. That's in his subconscious what he ultimately needs. And it was such a beautiful moment. So I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that story, because that really was a beautiful comparison.
Oh yeah.
Question number 4. Can you share a time or a memory when a movie made you feel a really strong emotional reaction?
Black Panther. Just because you don't, like, growing up, I've never seen that. I've never seen, as far as like the superhero movies, to where you're seeing someone that looks like me, not only one person, but a whole movie that looks like me, and they have these awesome powers, this awesome intelligence, and this, because we're usually, I won't say always, but it's like you're like the side character, you're the jokey guy, you're the funny guy. In horror movies, you're killed first. But it's like, this was such a powerful movie, and not just for people that look like me, but even young white kids. Like, I thought, you know how awesome it is for me to see that, like seeing little white kids dressing up as Black Panther because that's their favorite superhero.
Yep. I love
And
that. My son,
so dope.
that year, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that away from you. And I appreciate you sharing that, but it just makes me feel so good to hear that because my sons both have gone as Black Panther, but the year that it came out, my oldest went, and he still like has a Black Panther blanket, has a Black Panther pillow. That's his favorite because it's a great look. First of all, it's the best, one of the best looks.
It is.
And that movie, Chadwick Boseman just blew anything out of the water he was in. I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And if you don't mind, if I added one question and asked you for the Black perspective in this question.
Yeah, of course.
Because it feels like for so long there has been a separation between Black films and what are considered mainstream, but really it's white films.
Yeah.
If you think about that. And I'm talking about it, I feel like it's mixed really well as of late, but like for years, it felt like that's kind of how it was. Seeing this, where it's such a mainstream character and such a bigger than life character on a huge platform like this, is there any other characters from maybe what was considered Black films that kind of had that feeling as a kid that gave you that same feeling? And and the reason I ask that is to compare seeing it in the mainstream versus as a child where there was more separation.
See, that's a good question. That's tough.
Oh, thank you.
That's tough.
And if you don't have an answer,
I'm gonna jump to horror again. Friday the 13th Part 5. A brother survived, and I'm using that because that movie right there. It's either I won't say it's the Halloween 3 effect, but it's kind of similar in the sense that for this one, the original Jason's not in it, as far as, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But Reggie the Reckless surviving, just because I'm like, okay, you get to see that. So anytime I see those horror movies where someone Black survives, I love it. I don't get mad when they die either. Don't get me wrong, people, but it's just like, we shouldn't be dying every single damn movie. We shouldn't be dying every single damn movie. So it was cool. It was cool to see that. And then as a kid seeing that movie, it was cool to see a kid survive, which I know Jason doesn't really kill kids, but just in that moment and all that, that was pretty cool. That was cool.
And I would love to talk to you more about this on your show, but if you think about it for the future, to really analyze Jason, why he never actually goes after kids, whereas we've seen it with Michael, we've seen it with Freddie, we've seen it with others, but I wonder if there could be something written where maybe Jason doesn't go after kids because he was a kid when he was a kid. And he looks at it as like, I'm not going to go after them. They were just like me. I'm going to go after the counselors who aren't paying attention.
True, but the kids did bully him.
All right, true. Well, then Jason, you're dropping the ball. Listen, before we get to our last question, I just want to say thank you. Your answers have been amazing. I really appreciate the conversation through them. But if you're ready, I'll give you the last one.
Oh, before that, though, I had another thing with the Black Panther thing.
Oh, yeah, please.
With the whole, like when Chadwick Boseman passed, that sucked. That sucked because it was just like, but the beautiful thing about it, again, was just seeing how many people love that man. Like how many fans love that man. How many kids love that man. Like seeing the kids like sad, crying, like doing the where they had their toys lined up, with like the Black Panther toy laying down, all the toys lined up, and I was like, that's such a dope, beautiful thing right there. Yeah. That's such a dope, beautiful thing. And you could tell it wasn't one of those things where parents forced them to do it.
No.
You could tell where it's, you know what I mean? Because these kids, you could see the sadness, you could see the pain in their face. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's cool to see that, but it's cool that you're seeing that emotion as far as they were really a fan of the Black Panther. This is their Black Panther. And that is so dope. And again, kids of all races, I love that. But it's just cool to see. It's, you know what it is too. One more thing about that is it's cool to see that. I'd love to see more of it because I think it would help maybe with the younger generation. Maybe it would help with like not being afraid of someone that doesn't look like you. Like, oh, that's a superhero.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love hearing that too. And I know just from my perspective, they didn't line up the toys, but my one son, he's watched a lot of Chadwick Boseman because I love them as an actor, and he made a lot of history roles. He was Hank Aaron. He was Jackie Robinson. Yes. He was Thurgood Marshall. He was James Brown. He played so many wonderful roles of prestigious Black men throughout history.
Yes.
And but also just really good movies.
Yeah.
They're all really good movies. So it's like when you watch them, it's good to show my kids that just as history figures and say that's Black Panther playing those roles. He was a star, man. He was a great actor and a star.
And it was just like that. That was a tough loss. Yeah, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, by the way.
Yes,
Black
absolutely.
Panther. And thank you.
I love that. All right, final question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What is something about you you'd like the audience to know?
I'm not just a horror fan, guys. I really do love other stuff besides horror. Like, you heard me mention the Lion King. I love Disney. I really do love Disney, football, drag racing, all that fun stuff. But horror is important to me because it's been in my life. I'm 37 years old now. It's been in my life for about 32 of those years. So it's like your best friend almost. You know what I mean? It's like your best friend. Like, you're not going to get rid of your best friend. You're not going to get rid of people that you grew up with. I mean, but you know what I mean with that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just something that, like, for example, like I said, I told you guys how I grew up with it with my cousins and brothers and friends and all that stuff. My wife is into it. So it's always been prominent in my life. And then with people surrounding me that I actually care, that I love and care about. So that's why horror is so important to me. Not just the fact that I love watching those movies and stuff, but it's like, I've always had people to watch them with that enjoy it. Maybe not as much for some, but they enjoy it. They love it. They watch it. And again, my wife, like, we go to the movies every time there's a new horror movie coming out. For the most part, this year we've been going. I think we're like 18 or 19 strong this year, and we're going to continue to do that because it's just something we love to do and really passionate about. Good or bad, as far as the movie goes, I'm still going to go. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Nicolas Cage. I went and seen that nonsense. I didn't
Back around.
But yeah, horror is super important to me. It's just part of my life. It's a big part of my life, and it's always going to be that.
I love it. Those are fantastic answers, man. I want to say thank you for coming on and doing this. Thank you for coming on and being my guest co-host on the show. And just coming on and just being an awesome, great guy. And please go watch our show. The links are down in the bottom where we work together, but go and check out Sturdy Stuff. His links are down there below. He's fantastic. So thank you again. You are awesome, man. I'm happy to be friends with you and be able to do this stuff. But until next time. Me too, man.
I love it.
But until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan. That's Sir Sturdy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.